Hi guys, welcome back. Working on the wiring in the car while I'm doing the sound treatment. Basically what I'm doing is wrapping everything up in Tesa tape to make it nice and neat, and just tagging everything so I remember where everything goes. I thought I'd make a quick little video to show you the wiring that's in your 3 Series, bearing in mind that some of mine's been modified, but I'll point that out as we go along. So starting with the passenger side of the car, basically running down the side of the passenger well is main wiring harness. Basically you have these two major cables that run all the way down the side of the car and up into the back of the glove box. They carry all the wiring for your audio and amps and and other things in your stock car. And yeah, so that's that big mass of wires that runs up there. It splits off into a series of junctions or branches. The first one coming up here, this one here, is basically your under seat passenger plug, which provides the power and control for your motors and things to move the seat around if you've got powered seats. The other one that is branching off here is the speaker cable for your under seat subwoofers. In my car I've got this black cable that's also running down in this mass, which is my speaker wires from my front passenger door. Also, you won't have this in your car, but that's the control cable for the commander unit, which controls the DSP. The wiring then runs along this cluster, along underneath the front of the passenger seat, and basically then runs into the back of the dash. Now this cluster of wires is basically all your head unit wires. In my case I've got an NBT fitted, so it's a little bit different, but you have the connector that goes into the back of your head unit. You'll have this blue plug for your microphone. You've got this one here, which is the emulator for the NBT. You won't have that. You've then got, in my case, a rear parking, reversing camera, footwell lights and other things that come off that, and some plugs for the black one for the radio aerial and the blue one for your navigation GPS. All of that comes off that crazy looking harness there, and basically goes up inside there and then into the back here where it plugs into your head unit. So having a quick look at the back of a head unit very quickly. So this is your head unit. On the back, series of plugs. The pink one is the power to your screen, your LCD screen. The second one is your Bluetooth antenna, and then the green, orange and cream coloured plugs are basically your aux plugs, and depending on your model you might have some other plugs as well to the right of that. The blue one is your your GPS. The black one is your radio aerial, and the white one is an FM aerial. And then basically that big black plug here plugs into this, which is basically your speaker connections and all that type of stuff. So that's the back of your head unit and the types of things that plug into that. And this pink connector here is for your LCD screen. So that all tucks up into the back of the dash, and coming off that wire also is some wires that then run into the under the front console up near the handbrake area. Sorry about that. And they just contain some old wires if you had an old phone cradle and stuff like that. So in my case they're all redundant. Moving on to the wires that make up the inside the front console itself, you have this length of wiring that runs up the edge of the console and up over here. It basically connects to the back of the airbag controller here, and then you have two more cables that are running in from the front of the car. The first of those cables splits off into three. It contains basically the wire for your iDrive controller, the power source, just a 12-volt power source for your cigarette lighter if you have one, up here in the front of the dash, and in these plugs which I've wrapped up, which plug into the gear shift selector if you're running an automatic. This car has been converted to a manual, so those wires are no longer required. The second wire that runs up here runs along the dash, under the console, and once again ends up plugging into the back of the airbag controller, and also splits off to create these 5 wires that that sort of plug into the rear console. So you've got 1 wire, 2 wires for the puddle lights, you've got a wire here for the vent, you've got an earth wire that connects here, and you've got a 12-volt power supply. Once again, just go to a cigarette light or something in the back. So that is a quick rundown on the wiring. It's not as complicated as it looks once you sort of trace it all out. So at the moment I'm just wrapping it up in Tessa tape to make it all neat. So I'll continue on doing that, and we'll come back a little later in the day when I've done some more. Hope you found that helpful, and catch you soon. Hi guys, back for an update. Still working on the wiring. Got pretty much everything wrapped up now, and all of this wiring at the front tidied up, and other stuff sort of routed where it needs to go. So the next task is the door. So I've basically pulled off the weather shielding and removed a lot of the butyl that's stuck around the edges here. So the speaker wiring runs up under the dash and then through the door, through the grommet, comes out here, and then the wiring branches. The top branch head off to your powered mirrors, to the tweeter, and then down here you have the 2 wires, one for the black one for controlling the windows, and the white one for the little ambient lighting, fibre optic. Also got the speaker wires for the mids here. The other branch runs along here, and then basically runs down here to the window controller motor. You've also got the subs, the indoor subs wiring here. This other wiring then runs over to here to the door lock actuator, and this final wire here is just for the puddle light. Inside the door itself, here is the window mechanism, and the motor is under there. It's got a fair bit of room to get access to, so I will do the sound treatment a bit later, but for the moment I'm just going to wrap all of this wiring up, tidy it all up, and that should complete the wiring on the passenger side of the car, and I can put it all back into place and hardwire it in. So I'll go and do a bit more and give you an update a little later in the day. Hey guys, just an update. So got all the wiring on the door finished and wrapped, so that's ready to treat. Down here on the inside the cabin, we've got all this now all wrapped up. The floor cables, all these running to the back along the trays. And so now I'm looking to fit the wiring for the head unit, which needs to go in under here and then sort of come out here. So to do that we need to loosen or remove the head unit cage. So I've made a start on it, but basically you've got two 8mm bolts at the base that hold this bracket in place. You've got two T20s that are in the front here, here and here, here and here, and then another two T20s that are behind this temperature thermostat cover. So you just pull that off like that, and the T20s are just inside there and on the other side. So there it is. So you need to take those out, and then you can basically slide the cradle out. So I'm just going to do that and I'll be right back. Alright, I've got the cage loosened. Now to get these little T20s out, you're going to need little ring nose pliers to be able to get in there and pull the screw out. And then to take these plugs out, you just press down on this little tab and then slide the lever all the way to one side, and then that basically slide it all the way down, and then basically just pops out like that. So with that out of the way, and you can now move the wiring out of the way, the cradle just basically pulls straight out like that. There you go, and you've got full access to the back of the dash. Okay, back soon. Hi guys, final update for the day. Was in the process of reinstalling the head unit, just getting it all wired up, when I managed to snap the connector off the end of the Bluetooth aerial. So that's now rubbish, and I'm going to have to order another one, which means I won't be able to install the head unit until that arrives in the post. But I did manage to get it all connected up and sort of back into its tray. You can see the wiring sort of all hanging through here now, and the bits that I will need to have run to the back of the car, like the reversing camera, the cables are all routed in the correct position. So it's still looking pretty messy, but I'm pretty happy that everything's wrapped up and ready to go. So I think I'll sign off for the day and be back tomorrow. We'll continue on the work on the wire on the driver's side. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and catch you tomorrow.